Welcome to the Breaking Average podcast, the podcast designed to challenge you to break the mold that average has on the world. Each episode offers insights directly from those who choose to break average every day. Now for the latest insights, here are your hosts, Paul Gustafson and Barry Smith.
Hey, welcome to the Breaking Average podcast. I am Paul Gustafson with my good friend Barry Smith. Hey, Barry. Good to see you, man. How you doing?
I am doing awesome, dude. Looking forward to this podcast because I know what's coming.
Yeah, this one we've been saving this one up for a bit because we've been on a little bit of a hiatus. Hope you guys enjoyed some of the encore plays. We had a few extra ones there. We had the Navy SEAL that I did, and then Steve Finn recently. But now we're into a brand new season, and Barry and I cannot wait to dig in and dive in with you guys. And we're inviting you. We want to hear from you, and you'll understand why as we unpack this some more. So, Barry, I'll let you kind of tee it up. What are we doing here? Season 6. This is our first episode for season 6. And this is going to be a good one. So I'll let you share what we're going to do.
Well, all right. So first of all, listen, don't bail on us. Don't bail on us. You might think, no, this is not for me, because we're going to be talking about sports.
Mm-hmm.
So Paul and myself, and for those of you that know us, you know we're both a couple of sports nuts. Hey, family first, family, faith, friends, but sports should start with F, I guess. I don't know how to better explain it because it should be right there in the mix. But we're gonna talk about some very impactful sports moments for us on the podcast today on this episode. But we're gonna dig into some more important lessons, life lessons, as we go through the next few months here. And we really want you guys and gals to jump in, because as we kind of talked about this over the last week here, it's like, man, we need some more stories about some of the great female athletes out there. And it's like, we want to be politically correct, right? And we know there's some amazing athletes. We talked and came up with some huge names, but guys resonate with guys and gals resonate with gals. So we need your help, ladies.
Yeah.
We need your help. We need to know what female athletes have really impacted you and the story behind it. And we're going to kind of do a quick overview today and talk about maybe our top 10 that we've come up with. But this is going to run for a while, and we want you to be part of it. So jump on in.
Yeah.
Let us know what kind of sports world activities have impacted your life. Now, that's made a difference in the way you impact others.
Yeah, it's going to be so much fun. So much fun. Hey, this is going to be a lot of fun, guys. We are so excited for you to listen in on this and watch. We're gonna have some fun. So, as Barry just mentioned, we're gonna pick 10 incredible sports moments. And over the course of the next 10 weeks, we're going to take one of these, and we don't know which 10, right? So he's going to pick 5. I'm going to pick 5. We're going to have some fun with this. Barry just mentioned we want to hear from you. We may have missed one or two, and maybe we'll do some bonus ones beyond the 10 on some of the ones that you guys capture.
Like bonus.
Because we want to hear those stories, their impact stories of perseverance, of somebody stepping out of their comfort zone, or a team coming together and doing something incredible that changed really all of us who watched it in some way, maybe influenced a coach or somebody else. And it scales. It's a succession leadership, right? When you think about the impact that it has. So we're going to have some fun. We know we're going to miss some folks. There's some great coaches out there. We're not talking about specific individuals. We're going with specific events highlighting an individual. And so let's unpack this. And we're going to start it this way, Barry. I don't know who's going to go first. I don't have a coin. You're in Florida. I'm in Virginia, but we can do rock, paper, scissors. Are you ready for this?
Rock, paper, and dude, I'm all over it.
Are we doing it just first try? Whoever gets it goes, or are we doing it 3
yeah,
times?
We don't need to do 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. Best. Okay, here we go. Rock, paper, scissors. What?
Okay,
Ready?
now, hold on.
Put your hand out in front.
I know. Are we doing like 1, 2, 3, go? 3, 2. Remember?
1, 2, 3, go.
Lethal. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah. Ready?
Okay. All right.
1, 2, 3. All right, I got the first one. All right, you ready?
Okay.
This is hard. We're doing virtual rock, paper, scissors over Zoom, everybody.
I think we just lost 7 listeners.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do some edits on this. All right, you count down the next one. You ready?
Okay. 1, 2, rock. Oh, it's a tie. It's a tie. Okay.
Let's do it again. Count it again.
Okay. 1, 2, rock.
What are you? A rock again?
Yeah, I mean the delay. This
Yeah.
can be. This is kind of a problem for virtual rock paper scissors.
Okay, that's all right. I
Okay.
got the first one. We're gonna do it again. Ready?
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
All right. I don't know how I got
just
first.
said you can go first, Paul. It would have been a lot easier.
It would have been a whole lot easier. All right, here we go. My
That's
first
okay.
pick. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. I'm taking notes.
Take notes, guys. Here we go. My first pick. Woo, there's so many good ones. I'm going with this one. Here it is. Michael Jordan, early 80s, freshman for the North Carolina Tar Heels, NCAA championship. They're playing Georgetown. Georgetown looks like they're going to win it, but Jordan nails I don't know if it was a 2 or 3, but he nails a 20-footer, and we know the story. And we're going to unpack this more, but that to me was a significant moment. It launched somebody's career. It changed everybody, but that was a magic moment for me. So that's one I want to unpack some more in one of our episodes. So North Carolina over Georgetown with Jordan hitting that basket.
Some great players and great coaches in that game.
Yes.
That's what's so fun about this is it's an event that impacted us, but there's all the adjoining pieces, right? So let me if I'm going next, right? We're going back and forth. All right. So I'm going to turn back the clock a little bit because the first thing when we started talking about this, I mean, there was no question upon the one thing that popped into my mind immediately. Well before I was even here, well before probably just about all of our listeners were even here. 1947, Jackie Robinson breaks the color barrier in baseball.
Oh man.
So I played almost every sport growing up, but baseball is really what I excelled at. Very passionate about that game. I know some of you are like, oh, it's so slow and they're not really athletes, and I get it. But I really love playing the game, and I love the history of the game, and just what he did, what he went through. And I'm sure some of our listeners have seen the movie 42. There's actually some older movies, some of them black and white. There's actually a movie Jackie played himself.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of history definitely out there. But he changed the culture of the world, in my opinion, even though baseball is kind of a US based sport. His acceptance, his breaking that color barrier, Paul, just changed everything. I mean, if you listen to some of the other athletes, not just in baseball, but even some of the other sports that obviously came after him, and just the impact that he had, I think it changed all our lives. Whether you're a sports fan or not, it was still a huge piece. And I would love to hear anybody else jump in with, their thoughts about Jackie Robinson. I mean, this was back in the day. We lost him in 1972, but you talk about legacy. Wow.
Yep. Legacy. Wow. He changed the game. Can't wait to unpack that some more. Guys, if you're just tuning in, Barry and I are talking about top 10 sports moments that changed and created impact for all of us. And we've just named 2. We talked about Jordan as a freshman, and now we just talked about Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier in the major league. All right, so I got the next up.
Okay, you're up.
Ooh,
number 2.
So many good. All right, so we got basketball and baseball. I'm going to go with a different sport.
Ooh.
Different sport. All right. I'm going 1980 Winter Olympics. U.S. men's hockey beating the mighty Soviet Union and then going on to beat Finland for the gold. I'm going for that. That's my number. That's my next one.
Do you believe in miracles, Paul?
I believe in miracles. I do. I really do. That's all. And wasn't that an incredible moment
I
for all of
remember
us?
Al Michaels, I think it was, asking that question.
Yeah. Young Al. Oh, young Al
Very
Michaels
young
at
Al.
36 years old at that time.
It was like 43 years ago, bro. That
Yeah,
was
man. And he's still going. He believes in miracles.
love Al Michaels. I wish he was still doing the Olympics.
Yeah.
No offense, Mike Tirico.
All right. So that's mine. All right. Next,
Good
you
story,
get the
though.
next choice there.
All right, let's see. So I'll shift sports too. I'll go football, professional football.
Football.
And I think there's you say greatest moments that have impacted us. And this is kind of like a story. This is like a moment story. So if you're a Raider fan or a Patriot fan, you'd be picking up on this right away. My first introduction to a guy named Tom Brady.
Who?
Tom Brady? You might have heard of him.
He was one of the characters in the Brady Bunch?
Yeah, he was in the top square. Yeah.
Top square, that guy. Yeah.
Top right-hand square. Yeah.
Yeah. Next to Bill.
Yes. My first introduction to Mr. Tom Brady was 2002. Some of you might have heard of the Tuck Rule game.
Oh, the Tuck Rule.
Yeah, so that just so happened to be Tom Brady's first playoff win of many, really more than anybody else that we know and maybe ever will. And it knocked the Raiders out of the playoffs. So very painful. That was my introduction to Tom Brady.
Yeah, that was a snowy game too, right?
Snowy game. Don't want to get into all the other things that happened in that game besides the Tuck Rule that changed the rules, by the way.
Yeah, it did.
Fast forward now to 2017, that same Tom Brady guy's in the Super Bowl. Can't stand it. I'm a Raider fan. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm a Raider fan.
Yep.
Born into Raider Nation. Can't change that. It's DNA. 2017, can't wait for Brady to get beat, right? Super Bowl, playing Atlanta, in Houston. Atlanta's up, Matty Ice up 28-3 in the middle of the third quarter. Of course, Tom Brady comes back, wins the game in overtime. Huge comeback.
Yep.
You can't deny the guy's a leader. But just, my gosh.
Wow. So, yeah, you got two games there in one, and I'll take it. But we'll unpack that some more. I mean, how many Super Bowls did he win?
7.
5, 6, 7.
7.
Wow.
But I'm not done. And I look, I don't want to prolong this, but I'm not done. You know, it's how this impact us. And you guys are probably sitting there going, dude, you're a Raider fan. You're talking about Brady, two big things. Well, as I said, I'm just kind of hard to like this guy. Well, fast forward a little bit, 2020. You guys all remember what happened in 2020, right? This thing called COVID-19.
COVID.
Look, for sports fans like Paul and myself, and I know many of you listening right now, this was almost as close to the end of the world as you can get. No more games, no more anything.
Yeah.
What's the first thing we get back after the global shutdown? The NFL draft. Who knew the NFL draft could be the most incredible thing on earth? But it was. ESPN did a great job promoting it and just kind of brought sports back to life for so many of us who needed that. The next thing after that was a promotional golf tournament. You know who's playing in that golf tournament, Balls? 4 guys.
4 guys. Ben Hogan. No, he's gone. No, I have no idea.
Let me help you out.
Yeah.
So Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning playing Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady.
Oh, Tom Brady.
In the rain, all mic'd up. Again, this is the sports entertainment that we could get. So of course we're locked on. My wife and I were watching this, and they're talking, and I'm like, man, maybe this Brady guy's not too bad. Maybe I need to give him a chance.
Yeah.
And so I start to change, right? And that's something we'll dig into deeper, right?
Yeah.
When we go moving forward here. Then I'll fast forward to just about a month ago here. I was at an event, and the closing speaker was, guess who? The GOAT, Tom Brady. For those of you not familiar with the GOAT, greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Who many refer to Tom as the GOAT, greatest of all time. And arguably, I can't argue against it. But this I know. So I'm open to the guy. There's definitely a lot of excitement in a room full of 5,000 people who had no idea who was coming out next. Here he comes. And for the next about an hour, I listened to one of the most incredible, not just sports interviews I've ever heard, but leadership interviews.
Wow.
What he shared about not I'm not going to say not caring about winning and losing, but winning and losing was the most important thing. It was the competition. It's how he could take his team to a higher level. And we'll dig into this deeper, but
Yeah.
the point in all this, why this is a significant moment for me in sports, is because here's a guy that I developed an attitude about just because he wasn't on my team and beat my team and beat most teams, right? I'm
Yeah.
sure everybody feels that. But he's a guy who cares about people. He cares about succeeding. He cares about adding value. He cares about helping people reach their potential and helping them become better. And I think that's, at least here at Breaking Average, that's something that resonates with us. So there's a lot more to unpack. And I know I took a bit extra time, but I told you there's a story in there.
Oh man, it's a good story. And the thing about Tom Brady, and I can't wait for that episode when we do it. I'm sure there's some great quotes from him and other great moments. And just think, if they had lost that Raiders game, who knows where he would have been, right? But
Made a difference, yeah.
And he could be still a Raider, by the way. I know he's retired, but he could unretire. And
I heard a rumor. I know we're kind of timing the podcast here, but there's some rumors floating around about him unretiring again.
It could happen. But I would say that's a good one. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, so we're going to unpack that some more. The thing about Brady I was going to say is that he continually, his mindset was always to get better.
Yeah.
And that makes a difference. All right. And maybe that's true of all of these as I'm looking at the impact that some of these people had. Speaking of that, I'll stay with football for just a moment.
Okay.
Oh, man, I got so many good ones here. I hope I can get some of these in.
Lay it on us.
I want to go to, I think it was January 31st, 1988.
Ooh, 88.
I don't know where, if it was on West Coast. I think they were played on the West Coast. I think they weren't playing in Florida. And it was the Broncos. I'm a Broncos fan, but I'm also, at that time, I was a Washington Redskins fan. Why? Because Joe Gibbs was my coach. I still love Joe Gibbs. One of the greatest coaches of all time in my mind. Now, there's other great coaches too, so I'm not knocking anybody. But he's the only coach that has gone to 4 Super Bowls and won 3 of those with 3 different quarterbacks.
Yeah.
No other. Bill Walsh won multiple Super Bowls, but with 2 different quarterbacks. Joe Gibbs won with 3. And this one was with Doug Williams. Can't wait to unpack this story. They beat the Broncos. Phenomenal. I'm going with Joe Gibbs, Washington Redskins over the Broncos, Super Bowl 22.
There's a lot there. So you do a much better job paraphrasing than I do, because I know that story. And there's, man, I don't know how we're going to squeeze that into one podcast.
It's good. It's a good one. It's a good one.
No doubt. All right. Well, I know we're kind of on a run here, but I'm going to stick with the NFL.
Okay.
And I think this one may resonate with more of our listeners than anything else we've mentioned.
Yeah.
Because I think this really, really impacted just about everybody in the world, at least here in the U.S. And you're like, what? It was just a few months ago, beginning of January.
Yeah.
I was watching live. I think you were too. Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
And Damar Hamlin goes down for the Buffalo Bills. Bills, Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I'm watching it. I'm actually watching it right in the same room where I was watching it.
Yeah.
And when he went down, I'm like, man, that didn't look right.
No.
How do you get up and then go back down? All right, so I'm going to assume that most people listening know the story, right?
Yeah.
But there's so much more than that for someone who's been connected to sports. I mean, this was unprecedented. Everybody involved, the broadcasters, the follow-up from ESPN and different networks, and I mean, everybody did a phenomenal job, because what do you do when you're into that space where you've never experienced something before, never done something before, right? And you just kind of go with it. But in all of that, what happened over the next week, 2 weeks, and I think is still happening today to a certain extent, is it brought the world together.
Yeah.
I mean, it changed things. And
oh yeah. Oh,
I just remember that feeling when it happened. I didn't know what to do. I'd never been through it before. I was just I was looking at the TV, just like I think most
Yeah.
of the people listening to you, like, what do I do? How do I respond? What do I think? What happens now?
Yeah.
And there's just so much there, but it was so cool. You know, it kind of reminded me a little bit of the Super Bowl after 9/11, you know, when they did the national anthem and the flyover, and just how you could feel that the community, whether at any level, local, state, national, global, you know, there was you just felt some unity there that you can't get. It's human emotion. And man, that one I'm going to dig in on. That impacted me. You know, I talked to you 2 days later. You know, we were on one of our mastermind calls,
Yeah.
and I told you guys, man, that just impacted me.
It still impacts us, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's all these months later, and you think about that. I mean, he was a dead man, and I hate to say it that way, but he was gone.
Yeah.
And he came back to life.
Yep.
If that's not a miracle, I'm not sure what one is. And I love how it just wasn't a miracle by itself. There were people behind that miracle.
A bunch.
And that's what's incredible. And you know, we all have moments.
And let me jump in, because right now, any of our listeners, or if you're listening to recording a podcast, if you're a first responder, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for all you do.
Yeah. And coaches too. I mean, I've been a coach, and to see an athlete get a concussion or break a leg, or it's hard for us coaches. I'm not an athletic coach now, but I have been.
Yeah.
Thank you, because there's an element to that as well, because you care for each of these athletes. They're part of your family. And if you're a teammate where you've seen somebody go down, they're part of your family. There's a brotherhood or a sisterhood, depending upon, your gender, but you're there. And when something like that happens, you go there. I love that story. I just got to share it. Who's the receiver for Buffalo?
Diggs.
Him just showering up real quick and then heading over there as soon as he knew where he was at, what hospital, just because, hey, I got to be with my brother.
Yeah.
So powerful. Great one. I love that one. That's going to be one of our best episodes. I know it's going to be fun. Damar Hamlin. We should get Damar on the call. Hey, Damar, join us.
I'm working on something.
Yeah.
No promises, but I'm working on something.
That was breaking average for sure.
Yeah, you think?
Wow. Good one. Man, we're having some fun.
Look, we're just over halfway through, man.
We got five down, right?
Oh, I thought you were going to say we've got 5 minutes. I would be like,
no, we're going good. Let's see. We got Jordan. We got Jackie Robinson. We got the 1980 Olympics.
Oh.
We got they got Tom Brady, Joe Gibbs, Damar Hamlin. So we got 6 down. Yeah. All right. Let's keep going. I am going to share one that most people aren't familiar with.
Ooh, okay.
I think this has changed society a little bit. And it's Serena and Venus Williams. Those two amazing athletes, and how they competed. And I guess I'm going to go to the Wimbledon game where they actually are competing against each other, and Venus has won 2 already, and Serena beats her sister.
The younger one
beats her sister. I think, there's a couple great stories. I was going to share the one about Janet Guthrie, the Indianapolis 500 in 1977. I love that. But, unfortunately, Janet never won the Indy 500. So, but she opened the door for people like Serena and Venus and other sports. I mean, think about it. Just the impact that she made, that Serena and Venus have made since too, right? So I got to go with Serena and Venus.
That's
2002.
awesome. And good on you, man. Way to bring the ladies in here. And ladies, this is, look, we are admitting we need help. We want to hear
Yes.
your stories. We know they're out there, just like we've got our stories with the guys. We know you ladies have incredible stories of who inspired you, who's made a difference in you. I know there's some athlete women that are listening right now. So
Yeah.
come on, bring it on in. We really want to, impact is not gender specific.
That's right.
It's not. And so we want your stories. Jump on in.
Yep. Awesome. All right. So now we got Serena and Venus. But yeah, that was phenomenal. All right, number 8. You got number 8, man.
Number 8. All right, man. So this is it's what impacts us, right? So turn back the clock. 1992. My oldest son is not even 2 yet. My youngest son is, he's a few months out yet. So I'm in my basement back in Oregon watching a basketball game. It's March Madness. Isn't that interesting timing to be talking about that? Brackets open up this weekend. Ooh, timing ourselves again. Jump in, get in a bracket, everybody. We got to do something with brackets.
Yeah, we got to do some of that. It's gonna be fun.
But here it is. Number one seeded Duke against number 2 seeded Kentucky. All right. Again, talking college basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Duke coach Mike Krzyzewski. And
who?
Mike Krzyzewski. Coach
K?
Oh my God. Remember the time we'll save it.
Yeah, we got to save it.
Let me unpack this one. Cameron Indoor Arena.
Yeah. That's going to be fun.
2.1 seconds on the clock. Number 1 Duke against number 2 Kentucky. They got to impound. They got to go the whole length of the floor, down by 1. Grant Hill inbounds, throws it like 85% of the floor. Christian Laettner, who hadn't missed a free throw and barely a shot, maybe not even a shot the whole game, almost perfect, catches the ball, couple dribbles, turns, shoots, hits it as time expires. Duke wins by 1.
Yeah.
And I was talking with Paul earlier, and I'm like, I'm jumping up and down, I'm screaming, I'm all by myself with my like 20-month-old kid crawling around on the floor. Lucky I didn't jump on him or something. And I remember looking down like it was yesterday. And I remember looking down at him, and he's looking up at me like, what's wrong with you, Dad? But I will never forget the emotion of that moment. And we're going to dig in on this one because I truly believe it was not only the leadership of those 2 guys on the floor, who were definitely both team leaders, along with Bobby Hurley, but Coach K. And we're definitely going to dig in on some of Coach K's lessons because so much there, it's so much. So I'll shorten it up, but man, do not miss that one. You want
it's going to be fun.
Leadership lessons. But that was, I'm a Duke fan. I've always
we should see if Coach K will want to be on the call.
Ooh, we should. I'm working on that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
that'll be fun. That'll be good. Oh, man.
Barb call Mickey. We'll get him on.
Yeah, we'll do it. All right. Coach K, what year was that? 1980? 92. Yeah. So much fun. All right. So we got some basketball, we got some tennis, we got, I don't know, you kind of threw some golf in there when you talk Tom Brady. So we kind of got golf in there. This one's so hard that I'm just gonna lay out the event or the 1936 Olympics. I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna put 36 Olympics right there because there was 2, maybe 3, but I want to talk about 2 here. You had Jesse Owens, and you had the U.S. men's rowing team.
Oh,
those 2. I mean, and there was a third one too that we'll probably speak of when we do this episode, the 36 Olympics. I just want to do an episode like our 30 for 30, 36 Olympics. Join us as Barry and Paul do a 30 for 30 on the 1936 Olympics. This will change. I don't know if we can steal it or not, but we're borrowing it.
We'll come up with them like 27 for 20.
Something like that. But let me tell you, this was a significant event that took place at the Olympics. Obviously, Germany's preparing for this is predates World War II.
Like this.
Yeah. This is going to be a good episode. Can't wait to unpack this. Talking about Jesse, talking about Coach Ulbrichsen, the coach for the U.S. men's rowing team from the
What a
University of
story.
Washington.
Don't miss this.
Yeah.
Don't miss this, people. Wait. 1936. Imprint it now. You don't want to miss this one.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Oh, man.
All right.
So here we are. Are we at 10?
We're at 10, but here's what we'll do. We'll
All
do
right.
10, and then you're going to tell me the ones that you left on the bench, and I'll do the same because I got a bunch on the bench here. Oh, man.
All right.
But you go with number 10. Here we go.
All right. So number 10, I'm getting selfish on number 10.
Yeah.
So, as we kind of talked about this, what was the impact for you? All right. So I had the blessing and good fortune in 1996 to go to the NCAA National Championship football game.
Oh,
okay. Arizona, Fiesta Bowl, Nebraska playing Florida. Tom Osborne coaching Nebraska, Steve Spurrier coaching Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And not only did I get to go to the game, but my brother-in-law at the time just happened to be doing a sports casting role in Lewiston, Idaho, and happened to pull 4 press passes and 1 field pass for the game.
Yeah.
So not only did I get to go down there and see the game, but I got to sit in the press box, have stats run to me constantly, which was obviously something I'd never experienced. It's pretty cool. But I got to spend the 4th quarter on the field as well.
Dude,
and at halftime and after the game, be in the press tent, bumping around with guys like Charles Barkley. And I actually got to interview Tommy Frazier and Ahman Green, 2 stars of the game, afterwards. Barry Smith, KLEW, Lewiston, Idaho. So Tommy, and it was
cool.
it was surreal, man. But in all of that, I also got to do it with my brother, actually 3 brother-in-laws. Yeah. 3 brother-in-laws.
Yeah.
It's an experience, right? And I still got things on my bucket list. Last year, I was able to go to a Boston Red Sox game in Fenway. Yeah. And so there's always something else I want to do. We've talked about this, you and I just here, a couple months ago, walking around the stadium in Washington, DC, and it's like, man, there's just so much out there for a sports fan, but being able to do it with family, friends, and just have that experience and a memory that, some of these things that I brought up and a few more that we might get into here in a minute. You can't put a price on those things. There's experiences all you have. You can't take it with you. You can't leave stuff. It's what are you doing and who you doing it with? And does it really matter? I look back 30, 40 years at some of these memories like they were yesterday. That's a kind of impact sports. All right. So I'm not saying, for sports fans, you're still hanging in there. We probably lost a few other people that may not be on the sports side of it. We promise, remember, we got some lessons in here for you. Yep. But whatever it is that gets you emotionally fired up, man, share it with some friends, share it with some family, create those memories. They can't take them away. Never be able to take those away from you.
Dude, this has been awesome. We're going to share our bench players here just in a quick minute, but I will say this. I want to tee this up for everybody. We got 10 episodes to come. We want you to watch every one of these. We got some great lessons to learn. I want to just emphasize something that Barry just talked about. Experience is everything. Yeah. So when whether you've gone to these events or whether you watched it by the television, however you watched it, or whether you watched a replay of Miracle and, Disney's version of reenactment of the Olympic event in 1980, whatever it is, bring others with you in those experiences. There's something to behold. And that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to share those experiences that Barry and I have had in different ways, bring them to you and talk about that, because these are power moments for us. And I'll share this as a tip and challenge, and then we'll get to our bench players. And I want to know what your tip and challenge is. Create experiences for folks, guys. Find those ways to create moments of elevation, right? Where you can just create that celebratory moment. And that sometimes is coming out of your comfort zone. You look at all these teams and players and athletes, they had to get out of their comfort zone to accomplish what they did. But when they stepped out of that comfort zone, they find a new zone and makes an impact, not only on their own life, but others around them, which is pretty powerful. And look for those moments of connection when you do that. It's so important, right? We use sports. Sports is really a tool for connection, right? Because if these athletes did it on their own, it wouldn't matter to any of us. But when it creates connection like that, that's pretty powerful. When it creates insight, and that's what Barry and I are going to be talking about. We're going to talk about moments of insight, what we've all experienced through these different lessons and different stories and different views of what's happened in the sports world, whether it's Jordan or the Williams sisters or the story that you just heard from Barry. And then really the moments of pride, right? So I'm borrowing the Heath brothers concept of the power of moments, if you're not familiar with that. And this is that moment of affirmation of realizing that maybe God's gifted us beyond what somebody says that we can't do. And we can step into what we can do. And when we get out of that comfort zone, we realize, wow, I accomplished something that other people thought I couldn't. Think of the Williams sisters. Nobody thought they could, right? You can think of Tom Brady. He was what pick? What pick was he?
Yeah, about way down the list.
Way down the list, right? He's the GOAT. Jordan gets cut from his high school team. We're going to talk about all these stories, and it's going to be powerful. So before we share our bench players, that was my tip and challenge, and we're going to order these. So once we go through 10 of these, we want to hear from you guys so that we're going to repack and order our right now we just kind of laid these things out. We don't know what the order is. You guys are going to help us with that. But Barry, what's your tip and challenge for folks?
Man, you articulated it so well, but I think, there's two sides of this. There's the effort. Well, let me put it this way. In sports, you've basically got two things. You get the players and you get the spectators. And I think the beauty of it is the players get to pull the spectators into the game. Mm-hmm. And that's where the unity comes from. But you gotta participate, right? You gotta show up. You gotta find your seat. You gotta sit down. You gotta watch. You gotta cheer. You gotta cry. Sometimes you gotta cry, but it's that emotion. But it's the experience, right? What kind of I guess my tip would be, go find what's going to allow you to think, to get curious, to get excited. What are you passionate about? What? The tip is go find that, right? And then the challenge, what are you going to do with it? How's that going to change your life? I look back, this is going to be so fun because I look back so many, again, I get it. I've spent a lot of time in my life playing sports, and I know everybody hasn't, but I think everybody's experienced it. And you talk about, some of the things like after 9/11 and, Damar Hamlin, and even some of the community race issues, and it just seems like sports is a venue, right, that can just bring us unity. Mm-hmm. So what is that in your life? We all have stressors, we've all got challenges, there's turmoil everywhere, but it just seems like there's something about sports that changes that. So challenge is go find it, find it and do something with it.
Yeah. So good. Well, guys, we invite you to come to breakingaverage.com, share with us. We want to hear from you as we go through these 10, in the episodes ahead, and then we're going to unpack it in a finale that is going to blow you away. It's going to be so much fun. But let's kind of share our bench players, and we'll do this quick because we only have just a couple minutes left. So I've got a lot on the bench. I'll let you go first. Who's on the bench that you were thinking about pulling in, but just didn't make the cut for today?
So I was just thinking about, my memories. What have I experienced? And one of them has to be 92 NBA Finals, Blazers, Bulls. Again, most of my life in the Portland, Oregon area. So, Blazers were my team. And of course, game one, Jordan busts out 6 threes in the first half, goes on to score, more points than anybody had in the first half. And that just was the writing on the wall. I actually got to go to game 3 or 4. I got to find that ticket stub. But, it was over. And it's just like the value in that is, just the mindset that Michael Jordan brought to the team, just like Brady. And so we're going to, that's kind of why I brought that one in. That might come back up when we're talking about Tom Brady, because there's definitely guys that have that mental fortitude.
Yeah.
It's just beyond everybody. And they're the GOATs, they're the GOATs. It's an elite class, the elite class.
Unbelievable. All right.
What do you got, bro?
Yeah. So, I mean, just go run through a couple more real quick, and then I'll share mine. So, what other ones do you have? And again, we just have just a minute or two.
Yeah, so we lost Franco Harris earlier.
Oh yeah. Frank Harris, immaculate reception, right?
Reception, 1972. Again, sometimes your greatest memories are when you're on the losing side of the equation. For those of you not familiar with the Immaculate Reception, unbelievable finish to a game 50 years ago. Steelers beat the Raiders in the playoffs. Raiders are out, Steelers are in. Just kind of writing on a wall for Terry Bradshaw on that team, but Franco Harris picks up a ball, runs it in this time, basically running out. But the real story in there was a Raider linebacker, Phil Villapiano, who was on the field when all that took place. And just something that came out just recently, just this year, when they were kind of, honoring Franco for his career and the 50-year anniversary of the Immaculate Reception, the friendship that started between these two guys, despite being arch enemies on the ball field, showing up on game day, full game face, out for blood, but just true friends. And Franco's gone, and Phil continues the relationship with Franco's son. There's some lessons in there, man, that I'd like to unpeel, and I got to work that in there somewhere, because there's just, that's what it's at the end of the day, it's what it's all about. It's about people.
Yeah. So cool. Any other ones you want to share real quick?
I think, tragedy is another thing. We're talking about unity, some different examples. 1989 World Series, Battle of the Bay, Oakland A's, San Francisco Giants.
Yeah.
My uncle, 15 minutes before the bridge collapsed in that earthquake, was driving across it. So that struck home. I mean, I was born into Raider Nation. My dad grew up in a Bay Area. So that's close to home. And then you think about like Katrina, and it took 3 years after Katrina. Then what happens?
Saints.
New Orleans go win a Super Bowl. Better that. Yeah. How about Hurricane Harvey? Not that long ago.
Yeah.
Houston, Texas. 2 months after Hurricane Harvey, what happens? Houston wins their first World Series. So this whole idea of, how do sports unite a community and just embrace them through difficult times? There's a lot in there. And that's, to me, those are some of the most important things. I watched those victories. I watched those games, and you could just see, and this is where, TV does such a great job sometimes, right? In bringing these stories, making them reality, because we only can see so much. But man, again, it's about bringing people together.
It is.
So, we live in a tough world.
Good stuff, man.
Sports can bring people together.
Yeah.
So what do you got, bro? Come on, man. I'm hogging all this up.
No, that's good. Yeah. I'll go rapid fire here. I got Wilma Rudolph, 1960. Amazing. I almost put her in there. I was struggling. Like, if I had a next slot, I would have put her in. 1960. She couldn't walk as a child. She was somewhat crippled, but ended up winning there. I think in Mexico City. I can't remember where it was. Amazing. Unfortunately, she passed with brain cancer, I think, but just an amazing lady. Michael Phelps, how he came back in the Beijing Games, and any game, you name whatever Olympics it was, he did it. He was incredible. I have Joe Montana throwing the ball to Dwight Clark against the Cowboys in 1981. I think that was an incredible game to watch. It wasn't the Super Bowl, but it was an NFC Championship. They ended up playing the Bengals and winning that one. So, but that was pretty cool. And then I got Tony Hawk. I mean,
great story there, man.
Tony Hawk. I mean, he's the first ever to do the 900. Yeah. I used to be a skateboarder back in the day. It's hard to tell. I could never, I was good at maybe doing a 360, but he did a 900, which is incredible, and just a great guy. He'd be a lot of fun to get some quotes from that.
Oh, for real.
But Tony Hawk, let's see.
You look like guys like him and Shaun White who transcended really a sport.
Yeah.
Whether it be
for
skateboarding,
sure.
snowboarding.
Yep.
Again, look at the cultural change in that and what that's done for people, giving them opportunity to be in the Olympics. If it weren't for those guys, a lot of people would never have the opportunities to succeed.
Yeah, and to that, I'd put Phil and Steve Mayer.
Yep.
The Mayer brothers, and they won it in 1984. And Phil got the silver in 80, won the world championship 3 years in a row. Nobody did that again for another 30 years. Wow. Incredible. Then in 84, just before they retire, they win gold and silver brothers, sharing the podium in 1984. That was pretty awesome. And then I got Ovechkin, just broke one of the records there. He's one away from having all the goals, but he's just an incredible player. I just love watching how he plays, and I mean, he's just a stalwart. And what I love is that he's been with one team. Here he is still playing, and he's still with the same team. How many athletes stay with the same team?
Nobody anymore.
Yeah. So
I mean, serious.
Something to be said about that. Hey guys, this has been a phenomenal episode. Barry, I know we went a little long, but man, this was fun.
And we missed so much. I mean, we didn't even get into soccer, and it barely touched on the Olympics. I mean, so many stories. So please, everybody, viewers, listeners, we want your stories. Just a name, quick. They didn't have to write a paragraph. Just give us a name and a date and a time, something, and we'll dig in on it.
We're missing stuff like Karch Kiraly and volleyball.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right. So many cool things, and
everybody shaved their head and they're just supporting, and oh my.
What's the female swimmer I mentioned to you before we started recording?
Katie Ledecky.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many great ones. There's gymnasts, there's figure skaters. I couldn't name very many of them, but there's some great ones. So we want to hear from you.
Hansen?
Scott Hansen?
No, the speed skater guy.
Yeah. And then Apollo, and
oh man, so much.
And then we go back and Chariots of Fire, Eric Little, right? So I mean, there's so many good ones.
Whew. Go on forever.
And they inspire us. We tell these stories because they persevere, guys. Just persevere. Hey, thanks for watching. This has been a fun episode. We cannot wait to unpack these 10 that we've picked. And we hope you'll enjoy this, and tell your friends about our podcast. We are excited about season 6. And Barry, it is great to be with you, my friend. I'll have you the last word for everybody.
Be true to who you are and go out and add value. Just be who you are. You've been doing it your whole life. You're pretty good at it. Go make a difference.
There you go. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Breaking Average podcast. If you loved what you heard, please take a moment to subscribe. This show was produced by R Squared Multimedia. All opinions and comments expressed in this podcast are those of the participants and do not reflect the opinions or views of any of the advertisers, producers, or platforms. As you continue your day, what is one action that you can apply from this podcast to your life? Tune in for our next episode as we continue to challenge everyone to break average.
All right, so we have got just a phenomenal episode.
Without your editing, I got to tighten this up.
He's got to tighten it up.
Yeah, I was doing that. And that wouldn't work out too well.
So if everybody's wondering what happened with Paul and Barry, well, we had a little technical issue here. Equipment. And we're talking sports today, and you got to have the right equipment when you play a sport. So just like podcasts, you have to have the right equipment because you can't break average unless you got the right gear. And we're about breaking average. So thank you for sticking with us as we go through this. This is going to be fun. So he's just getting a pair of pliers, I believe.
Hey, good job filling airtime.
Here we are.
Stand by.
We're only live here, guys.
So it's all good. Back to you, Johnny.
Hey, this is going to be a lot of fun, guys. We are so excited for you to listen in on this and watch. We're gonna have some fun. So, as Barry just mentioned, we're going to pick